This is one of my supine to active straight leg raise to toe touch progressions that I like to show people how to do for home. So my toe touch is pretty good. I'm mostly limited if I don't work on it, like I'm cold right now. I have a little bit of perception of some posterior chain tightness on my left. So I can certainly modulate that a lot of ways, but this is one of the easier ways to do it. If someone can't immediately do some sort of reset or modulatory technique in standing, you want to de-threaten a little bit, you get into supine. So if I had to measure my active straight leg raise, I don't feel as much on there, and here I'm probably limited to about there before I start to feel that tight hamstring pull, right? That epidemic of tight hamstrings. So if you activate a flexion pattern, you could either do it unilaterally if you had a bell or you were pressing up a band that you had kind of pulling that way, or you can just activate even a bilateral flexion pattern. My intention is to push down this hand with this hand, so I'm actually activating a flexion pattern as if I were curling up, and I could eventually get to that point. So if I do this, and I kind of time that with some exhales, and if I cue, the intention is to curl up, right? So imagine if you're curling up, and you could even lift the head off and just do a light crunch. You can do that if you want, but you don't really have to. So in my mind's eye, when I close my eyes, I'm actually curling up. Then I eventually kind of combine that pressure downward in a flexion pattern with an active straight leg raise, and the breath. Now, I can get it a bit higher, but also the perception of stretch or pull in my posterior chain is much lower. So maybe that would get me, well, that already got me to toe touch. But if that weren't, if they were still, if they were close but no cigar, now, since you already had them do that maybe 30, 40, 50 times or so, and they kind of, with their eyes closed, they envisioned it, so they visualized the pattern, they feel what it was like to fire a flexion pattern or a multi-segmental flexion pattern without actually flexing. In the end, when you fire the pattern without the perception of stretch, then the pattern becomes associated with good movement as opposed to this is bad for me, right? Or I have that bad feeling in my hamstring. So then my next progression would be in standing, do that same thing that you were doing in supine. You can close your eyes and act like you're flexing down. They can flex a little bit, they don't have to, they can even curl, they can start with a posterior tilt. After about 10 to 20 of those or so, maybe even less, they should be able to touch the toes no problem. Now I have no perception of tightness in my hamstrings, because again, some people have short, tight hamstrings. It's not nearly as many people as you think. Usually if you could warm up and lengthen your hamstring, had nothing to do with length, it was just changing the perception. And these are ways to do it without actually kind of stretching it out and fighting your nervous system.